Okay, friends, brand new phone, and embarrassed to say I've been 6 days on my beloved Lanzarote without filming or photographing anything. I had two friends with me who did take some photographs and videos. Um, and the one who is least familiar with the work I do with my colleagues, we were sitting here one night, and he's very good visual acuity. And in this house, I'm going to have to put this on BitChute, but I'm not embarrassed to dox this. I should have called the police, really. In this villa at the top of Calle Toscon, we saw a man in white robes come out in the garden and start doing some kind of magic in the garden. And like I said, the least experienced in my line of work until I retired, he's like, what the fuck? And we watched a man in white robes march around the gardens flapping his robes about. And then both my colleagues that were here spotted people in those windows, I'm showing you them now, also doing rituals in full regalia. And I don't know why or what time it was, but the lights suddenly went out. But before that happened, there were private jets seeming to arrive locally, and there was a guy with what looked like two bodyguards escorted into the place. And then we were so shocked. And then, like I said, the lights went out, and we were just like, what was that? We ended up going to bed. We didn't call the police or anything, because sometimes you think, well, maybe the police are paid off. I'm just showing you around. I stayed in a beautiful apartment, right in my old locality, actually. But I woke up at 4:30 in the morning, only to see a private car pull up with the hazard lights put on, and a gentleman exit from the house as quick as a flash and get driven off, probably thinking nobody's gonna see at 4:30 in the morning. So although I had other reasons to come, you know, a lot of closure and a lot of happy memories made, but we all three of us asked ourselves, did God give us this very apartment with these three beautiful balconies just to see what was going on? So my two colleagues flew home a few hours before me, and but they'd both agreed to confirm by video and add to anything I've missed out, because there were three of us that witnessed it. Well, at the beginning of this video, you'll see that I talked about a rather shocking observation myself and Aaron made, and we had a friend visiting as well at the same time, while we were just minding our own business on a very high balcony in Lanzarote. And I wanted to take witness testimony from Aaron and from the mutual friend separately, because we were shocked, and my phone was transitioning from an old phone to a new phone. We didn't film it, cardinal mistake, but three different people witnessed. So I'm just going to, Aaron hasn't seen my testimony, and I'm just now asking him to recount what he saw. Go ahead, Aaron.
So yeah, basically we're sitting in this big terrace of ours, and there's this big villa right next to us on the other side of the road, because our place was on a corner of the road, on a crossroad basically. So yeah, in that villa, it's very, very weird. Like something's going on. All the lights are on, and every window is barred for some reason. No windows around in Lanzarote where we lived were barred, but that particular villa, every window is barred. all the lights are on. There are people dressed in white inside doing something, like getting real busy, all wearing white robes. And then suddenly, I'm going fast forward, I suppose. Suddenly all the lights go off, and then like 5 or 10 minutes later, a man wearing green t-shirt with two big men wearing black arrives and goes in. So my suspicion, first of all, in my brain is like, how on earth, full bang on party, all dressed in white robes, then all lights go off, and someone with two bodyguards arrives. My suspicion is like everything went to the basement and stuff. And then there's more. Then we were sitting, when you went to your bedroom, Angie, then we were still sitting in this terrace. And there's a woman that comes out to the gates like half an hour later when you went to your bedroom, which is like around 1:30, like 2 a.m., something like that, or 1:30 a.m. There's a big woman that, I mean, like an athlete woman, comes to the gates, and then another man dressed in black goes to the backyard. They're all roaming around the house and the gates, making sure no one's watching or something, or maybe they were waiting for someone important to come. And then we could see the airport and planes landing from our terrace as well. And there's a private plane landing, and there's two police cars roaming around that house. Wow. I suppose not for the people's safety, because there's no one in the streets, not a single soul.
Yeah.
And police is totally roaming around the house.
Wow.
And it was just like mind-blowing, knowing what we do.
Yeah.
And we sort of tried to escape from it, and suddenly we landed in a hotspot. What the heck?
Yeah, we were taking a break from our work, and this.
And went there to do some other work, and it's
Wow. Anything else you recall? I wasn't aware of some of those details you just said. That's mind blowing. Anything else you observed?
It just blew my mind how I mean, it could be a regular party. It could have been a regular party, okay.
Let's not
But I just don't know how to explain these random things. A person arriving with bodyguards, then another two people roaming around the house, and the person arriving when I just can't believe it.
Yeah,
You know, it's shocking.
it shouldn't be shocking to us, and I'm mad at myself for not filming. But
I literally first time in my life witnessed it
firsthand,
from such close proximity.
Yeah, it was shocking. Okay, thank you. Now let me just think if there was anything else. Yeah, we'll maybe let me think. I'm trying to let the listeners draw their own conclusions. And I also wonder whether to send this to, I happen to have rented an apartment a few years ago from a detective in Lanzarote. It was random, but he turned out to be a detective, and very nice, and seemed like a very straight up guy, because we did talk about should we call the police, and then we just said
but then police is roaming around already, protecting them when there's no one in the streets.
Exactly. So it's too risky while we were there to ring the police and risk us getting raided instead of the suspicious villa. And it had 8-foot high walls, and it had, like you said, bars on the windows. That's great. I'm trying to keep this as pure as possible. That's your testimony. Now
Sure.
I'm gonna call our guest
Oh,
that was
yeah.
visiting. So I'll do that, and then I'll send you. I also made a video before I left the apartment. I made a video of the villa and the street and so on. So when I've taken the testimony of the person that was visiting with us, maybe you could put all four of those clips together.
I will put it all in one
Yeah,
video.
even if it takes us a week, I think it was the least, given the work that we do, the least we can do is put this out. Okay, thank you. All right, Paul. I want to start by thanking you for being willing to go on record, just testifying to something you saw. And the reason I'm very grateful is because Aaron and I work in a very delicate field, and it's absolutely outside of your radar. It's nothing to do with your career and your field of knowledge. So I'm just recalling or recounting that Aaron and I were on the terrace having a few days away doing some work, but also having a break and hardly going online. Aaron's back was to that side of the terrace. I have bad eyesight and I was lying down, and it was you that just happened to have that villa right in your eye line who said, "Oh my goodness, what's that? What's going on there?" And it's just marvelous that you saw that. So I would just like to ask you to recount what you as a layperson not familiar with this, this is like a movie, really. It was like a movie. I would like you to just recount what you saw.
Oh, sure, Angie. It was beautiful to have spent that evening with you guys. It's good to see you again. And we were just enjoying our company and drinks and just having a good time. And as you said, I was facing that building. We were enjoying the view of the sea and everything from the balcony. It really was a good spot.
Yeah.
But because that building was in my vision, every now and then when I looked up, I would just, see it in the distance. I remember one particular time seeing a man, what appears to be a man, dressed in white robes, standing outside of the house, just hovering there. And I thought, really strange. And then he started walking around the building
Yep.
very slowly. And he was more facing the building, looking at the building, but also looking externally as well, as if he was, scouting the grounds or whatever,
Yep.
looking around. And then he went round the building and looked through those windows that he had, and then also around him, and then came back again very slowly, and then hovered again on the left side just before going back in the building. I remember that. It was just so strange, so spooky. And then after that, because he was looking in the windows, I started watching them, noticed them myself. And it appeared that there seemed to be three people at least dressed in white robes as well. Yeah.
Yep.
And they seemed to be facing some kind of orange light or something orange. But it was difficult to see any movement from them. Even I saw what appeared to be three people dressed in white, but there wasn't too much movement. So I'm not too sure what that means. And then we're having our conversation. So we're chatting away. And then I noticed when I looked back again, sometime after that, the windows were all closed, darkened, as if the shields or whatever shutters had been put on them. And so it appeared to be in darkness. And so we could no longer see into those windows. Yeah.
Yep.
And then shortly after all of that, I noticed what appeared to be men or three people walking past our veranda on the ground, and they appeared to be wearing black. So they were all three of them walking towards that garden and then disappeared for a moment, only to suddenly see them inside of the garden.
Wow.
In the same area that man in his white robes were, and they went towards where we last saw him. So that would have obviously been in the entrance to the house, and then disappeared in the house. We didn't really hear anything or see anything after that. And that's what I kind of recall from that night.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. And you alerted us, and we saw. I couldn't see through the windows just because of my eyesight, but you and Aaron witnessed at least three people it through the windows as well. And then just to finish off, I got up. I went to bed about 1:30, as Aaron said. You two stayed up a bit later. And Aaron remarked about the police seeming to patrol and a private aircraft seeming to land at the airport. And I went to bed kind of mind blown about 1:30, but it disturbed me so much. I woke up again about 4, and I thought, let me go out on the terrace and have a cigarette and just kind of try and process what we've just witnessed. And I saw a car draw up right outside the entrance on the road with its flashing lights on, hazard lights on, and somebody exited as quick as a flash into the car, and boom, the car
Oh, wow.
yeah, it was so between the three of us, I think there's no doubt in my mind at all. When I lived in Lanzarote, and you're probably aware of this as well, but when I lived there, you could walk around and you could see, it's a bit like the island of Jersey. You can see gardens of villas that are full of Baphomet and satanic symbolism, statues, and so on and so forth. But anyway, I thank you for your pure. Each one of us has had something, some part differently that stuck in our minds, but it makes a whole picture. So I'm really grateful. And when I will send this recording to Aaron, and I'll send him mine and his own. And it may take a few days, but we'll put something together. And I remember saying, well, I think Aaron and I might have said the next day, this might be the only reason God sent us here. I mean, how random is that, to rent
Indeed.
an apartment and see that from your terrace?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so anyway,
It's shocking.
yeah, I'm very
All right.
grateful. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right,
Take
God
care.
bless.
Bye.